Hello everyone, here are the latest market news on March the 18th, 2021. UN raises global economic growth outlook for 2021. The global economy will grow 4.7% this year thanks to a stronger than expected U.S. recovery. That's according to a UN Conference on Trade and Development, UNCTAD, Thursday report, which revised the previous forecast to 4.3%. According to the publication, the increase from last September's previous forecast had an impact on expected growth in U.S. consumer spending due to vaccination progress and an extensive stimulus aid. However, the UNCTAD said COVID-19 will have long-term economic consequences that will require continued government support. The main risk to the global outlook, it says, is a mistaken return to austerity. The report estimates that there was a 3.9% drop in production last year. Nevertheless, it says it would have been worse if central banks had not acted proactively to avoid a financial meltdown. BlackRock doubles down on firm's climate policies. BlackRock on Thursday warned companies that rely on nature or impact natural habitats to develop no deforestation policies and biodiversity conservation strategies. Otherwise, they will face opposition from the asset manager and their annual meetings. The world's largest asset manager seeks to position itself as a leader in sustainable finance and over the past year has sought to take a tougher stance against companies not working on environmental, social, and governance issues. Although BlackRock, which manages about $8.7 trillion in assets, have previously worked with companies on this topic, this is the first time the report has taken a more detailed stance. Going forward, BlackRock says firms should disclose how the practices relate to the use of natural capital and consider their impact on the environment. Global stocks bounce as Fed keeps rates unchanged. Asian and U.S. stock futures rose Thursday after the Federal Reserve pledged to maintain accommodative monetary policy and forecasts a rapid jump in U.S. economic growth this year as the COVID-19 crisis eased. MSCI Asia-Pacific's broadest index of stocks outside Japan rose 0.87%, while China shares rose 0.74%. The Australian market bucked the trend and fell 0.73%. Meanwhile, E-mini futures on the S&P 500 rose 0.7%, and Eurostoxx 50 futures were up 0.52%, indicating a bright start to European trading. While inflation is expected to reach 2.4% this year, above the central bank's 2% target, Fed Chairman Jerome Powell called in a temporary blip that won't change the Fed's promise to keep the interest rate close to zero. Long-term Treasury yields stayed high and the yield curve spun as bond investors focused more on rising inflation expectations. On Wednesday, the S&P 500 closed at a record high and the Dow Jones for the first time closed about 33,000 points, buoyed by the Fed's strong economic outlook. Nicola's partner Hanwa to sell half of his stake. South Korea's Hanwa Group said Wednesday it intends to sell half of its stake in electric car maker Nicola Corp in a bid for the EVs maker's prospects. Green Nicola Holdings, a subsidiary through which Hanwa owns a 5.65% stake in Nicola, plans to sell up to 11.1 million shares for about $180 million, the SEC said in a filing Tuesday. A Hanwa Group spokesman said the proceeds will be used to invest in the hydrogen business, adding that the potential sales are not the end of a partnership with Nicola. Hanwa Group first acquired a stake in November 2018, long before Nicola debuted on the Nasdaq last June. Since then, the company's stock price has nearly halved. To date, Nicola's stocks is down about 7.4%.